Square announced yesterday that they've invested $50 million into Bitcoin. Now, this is massive news. It's massive news for both Square and for Bitcoin. And it's massive news for me because they're two of my largest holdings. And if you're in a similar situation, this is also massive news for you. And in this video, I'm going to explain the significance of this news. I'm also going to explain what sparked off this investment by Square. And it might not be what you think it is. So, slap a like on the video, smash the subscribe button, and let's crack straight into it. So let's just quickly breeze through the press release first. So Square Inc. invests $50 million into Bitcoin. Square announced today that it has purchased approximately 4,709 Bitcoins at an aggregate purchase price of $50 million. Now if you work this out, they roughly paid about $10,600 per Bitcoin. And they basically made this purchase in one day, which really shows the liquidity of Bitcoin, that they can do this and barely move the market. Square believes that cryptocurrency is an instrument of economic empowerment and provides a way for the world to participate in a global monetary system which aligns with the company's purpose. The investment represents approximately 1% of Square's total assets as of the end of the second quarter of 2020. So look, this is a tiny investment. It's just 1% of their total assets, but this is the start. I can only imagine the convincing that Jack Dorsey had to do to get this past the board of directors. So even 1% is a big start. But let's read on. We believe that Bitcoin has the potential to be a more ubiquitous currency in the future, said Square's chief financial officer. As it grows in adoption, we intend to learn and participate in a disciplined way. For a company that is building products based on a more inclusive future, this investment is a step on that journey. Okay, so they've said two things there. One, that they're going to learn and participate in a disciplined way. So they're going to be slow about their participation and they're going to do it meticulously. But secondly, that this investment is a step on that journey. Just one step. I guarantee you there's more steps coming very, very soon from Square. And this is just the start of them investing into Bitcoin. Square has previously invested in Bitcoin from a product, leadership and legal innovation perspective. And today adds this financial investment. So it's important to know that you can buy Bitcoin through Cash App, but Square does not hold this Bitcoin on their balance sheet. It simply facilitates the transaction and charges a small fee to do that. What's happening here is very different. Square are taking some of the cash that they have on their balance sheet and they're putting it directly into Bitcoin, and they're going to hold it on their balance sheet as an investment. And in doing so, they're bowing out of the current monetary system, which they state does not align with the company's purpose. That statement, guys, is absolutely massive. For a public company of this size to vocally state that their purpose and mission does not align with the current monetary system, in my opinion, is absolutely huge news. The company launched Bitcoin trading in 2018 with Cash App, which enables the buying and selling of Bitcoin. It's worth noting that Square was actually the first publicly traded company to enable its users to buy Bitcoin directly. So they're a real first mover in this industry. And now they're not a first mover, but a second mover in putting Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Brilliant stuff from Jack Dorsey. In 2019, then, the company formed Square Crypto, an independent team solely focused on contributing to Bitcoin open source work for the benefit of all, and also recently launched the Cryptocurrency Open Patent Alliance, a non-profit organization encouraging crypto innovation and opening access to patented crypto inventions. So you can see here, Square is all about supporting the crypto ecosystem, and they've shown this even more by releasing a white paper alongside this announcement showing exactly how they went about investing this $50 million in Bitcoin. So by doing this, they've given a playbook to other public companies on how exactly they can do this also. This is brilliant stuff from Square and from Jack. And I know by the reaction of Bitcoin Twitter that the Bitcoin ecosystem is also highly appreciative of this and very, very excited about this news. Now let's talk about the significance of this news. Firstly, let's talk about it for Square. So in my head, this news further cements my belief that Square is a highly innovative company and is going to continue to grow for the next multiple decades. And it also differentiates them further from traditional financial institutions. And because I'm such a believer in Bitcoin, this actually slightly de-risks my investment into Square. The fact that Square now holds Bitcoin on their balance sheet reassures me that Square truly is a long-term, multi-decade investment. This is an investment that I feel very comfortable about putting into my pension, forgetting it, and simply cost dollar averaging into it over the next decade, if not even longer. For Bitcoin though, the significance of this is even bigger. Square are now the second public company to come out and announce that they have put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. The first was a company called MicroStrategy with a market cap of just 1.5 billion US dollars. The CEO, Michael Saylor, is a true innovator, the explorer that showed what is possible, the first mover. But now Square is the second company to do it, and they have a market cap of over 80 billion. So this one is really going to make the CEOs and the board of directors of other companies perk up their ears and take notice. The investment into Bitcoin by these two public companies have taken something that was on the fringes, something that was completely frowned upon, taboo and flaunt with career risk, completely flipped it, and in my view made it something that's cool and acceptable. This, my friends, is the start of the snowball. Right now it's very small, but it's moving and it's starting to gain momentum. I for one cannot wait to see how big and fast this snowball gets by this time next year. We always knew that the next phase of Bitcoin adoption was institutional money, but myself personally, and I think most other people, assumed that that was hedge funds. Very few of us, I believe, thought that this would come from the treasuries of companies. In a previous video I talked about my ambitions for the price of Bitcoin and what would be required for it to reach a price of $100,000 at 10x roughly from today's price. And basically what I concluded was that it would take 1% of all current global assets under management, which is about 100 trillion US dollars, to flow into Bitcoin for us to reach that price of $100,000 per Bitcoin. But now we're seeing an inflow from companies' balance sheets. Now I haven't done the calculation on this, but it's clearly going to be a massive driver for the price of Bitcoin. I simply can't begin to understand the opportunity of this asset if we see significant inflows from both companies and hedge funds over the next number of years. I mean, is there any companies putting gold on their balance sheets? I don't know of any. If you do, let me know in the comments below. But I think this is a new thing, companies putting another asset on their balance sheet besides fiat in order to preserve purchasing power in an environment with such massive inflation. Okay, so now I want to show you a clip of what many people believe sparked this off by Jack Dorsey. And it's a clip of Michael Saylor on the POM podcast calling out Jack Dorsey to step up and invest in Bitcoin.
Jack Dorsey has a one-word Twitter bio, and that one word is Bitcoin. And he's also got $10 billion in cash and cash equivalents between Twitter and Square. And to my knowledge, none of it is invested in Bitcoin, either Square or Twitter. You want to help me try to persuade Jack to break off a small 500 million or $1 billion and go buy some Bitcoin? Because I know he loves the community and I know he's doing as much as he can to help. But the single most useful thing he could do to help is lead on the corporate treasury side. If he bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, what do you think happens the next day?
Well, folks, I've got news for you, because it wasn't Michael Saylor, it was me. Because 11 days before that interview aired, I tweeted Jack Dorsey and I said, Jack, have you and the Square team considered following the path of MicroStrategy and converting balance sheet cash to Bitcoin? I think it would be a great fit. And of course, with my absolutely massive following, Jack clearly took notice and went and put 50 million into Bitcoin. Of course, guys, I'm joking. Jack clearly never saw my tweet. But on a side note, I really did tweet that to Jack, and I have just started using Twitter. So if you're on Twitter, come over and follow me. Here's my Twitter handle, or whatever you call it here, at CHEF_HEFF90. But folks, that's it from me. If you enjoyed this video, slap a like on it. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.